gonna get hot, don't they? So this just happened. So let's just talk about how I ended up with this bike and kind of my first thoughts overall, first impressions without having really rode the bike yet.
You're a stupid man! A stupid, stupid man!
All right, let's go take this for a first impression lap. I bought Cicra Pro Blend hand guards on the way home and got them out of the package. Actually, I cut my bars down a little bit and everything and got everything moved where it needed to be so I could put them on, and found out that I didn't have the bar end inserts in the package. It was supposed to. Somebody had opened them prior to me buying them, so I'm gonna have to call it correct and hopefully they can rectify that. So I gotta be a little bit careful. But let's go take it for a lap and just see what we think. So I've got the standard map in right now, which is the green module. It comes with 3 different modules, and I just figured try it as stock as can be. Now, when I first bought the bike, the kid had the spring preload adjuster nuts all the way up, so the spring was actually just like moving up and down in there. It wasn't even, they weren't even contacting the spring when it was up off the ground. So I don't know, I think he was just like riding around his neighborhood, because there's no way you could not notice that if you were jumping it and different things, that spring would be ding 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 popping up and down in there. The other thing I did was I moved the forks up just like a couple mils. That'll help it, give it a little tighter turning radius and tight stuff, and it just helps it helps lower it a little bit for like a shorter rider like me. The only place it really hurts is in like a straightaway field section where you got long sweeping turns and you're going really fast. But most of my riding is enduro style riding, so I think that it'll be fine anyway. I've done that pretty much on all my bikes. So yeah, let's throw a leg over it and see what we think. I did also set my sag. Kind of. It's basically factory setting. Got my safety glasses. on this bike. Woo! I needed one of these like 2 years ago, or a lot of years ago even. Holy cow, so what can I say? It's kind of mixed feelings right now. I'm like crazy impressed with how good I felt on this bike. Just coming in, setting my sag, doing a couple minor suspension adjustments, and actually I didn't really adjust it. All I did was put it back to factory settings. The kid had messed with the compression and rebound that I bought it off of, and I just wanted to put it back to stock, so I put the compression and rebound screws, I think rebound's down under there, but compression, put them all the way in, and then back to mount 13 clicks, I think was the factory position. I didn't mess with, I don't know if he had messed with this or not. It looks like he might have. The little flathead has got a little bit of dimpling, it looks like, where he had a flathead on it. So I should probably mess with that, or put it back to stock anyway and see what he did. The only other thing I did, he had it on like the least aggressive map. So I put the standard map in, and I think that's like the middle of the road map. It's the green one right here. So when I first went up and test rode this, it felt like it was like a little hesitant off of when you first cracked the throttle. When I put that map on, it definitely cleared it up a little bit. It's still a little bit, I don't know if there's some throttle adjustment I gotta play with. I mean, obviously it's fine. I just rode around the track pretty well, I thought, but I don't know. Yeah, like I'm both excited at how good I rode that, but I'm disappointed that I hadn't gone to something like this sooner, because the power is just so nice. Coming out of those downhills, sharp corners into an uphill, no problem. Second gear, the whole track, minus the grass track where I had to click it up into third. And then even on the grass track, third did feel a little bit low. I started hitting the rev limiter, I feel like, on that one sweeper left, where you start going along the fence down towards the lower corner of my property. But, I mean, this thing's awesome. I am pumped about it. So you guys are gonna know before I do, if I beat any of my lap times there the other day on my 150. You just saw that. So I'm excited to see that when I get into the editing room tonight, but this thing's sweet. You guys could tell if you watched the track day video, I was just really struggling with the 150 and some of those sharp downhill straight into uphill sections, and there was no good gear for that bike. This thing, second gear, whole track, as long as you're in the woods, all the power you could want and all the lugging you could want on the slower stuff. So extremely happy with how the power is, and it's very linear. I did see the front end lifting up a couple times, just got to get used to it, but I mean, that happens on the 150 too. You just get on it around those corners, and if you're not if you got your weight kind of back in the bike, then you start lifting the front end up. But no, I mean, this thing's sweet. All right, so let's go through the things I don't like about this bike. One, I like the kickstand, but it feels like that spring is not very tight. I mean, if you go over a jump or a big bump, I feel like that kickstand could flip down on you. So I'm gonna see what people do about that, because I do like the fact that it has a kickstand, but I don't like how flimsy that spring feels. I would say one of the biggest things that this bike I feel like it should have is that you could map the ignition on the fly. So you actually have to come over here and unplug this module and plug one of the other 3 or 2 extras that it has. And it's not a big deal, but it's not something you're going to do during the race for sure. I guess you could, but it's going to be, you know, a 15-second deal by the time you do that. I guess you could probably do that almost in the time you stop for fuel or goggles or whatever, but you know, that's so easy, I feel like, for Kawasaki to integrate some sort of switch to where you could have different mapping on the fly. So that's a pitfall, but still, I've never had anything like that. So I'm used to a 2-stroke where you don't have any choice. You ride it how it is. So we'll mess with those in a later video and see kind of which map I like better. But for now, I'm loving that. That was really nice going around the track. The exhaust. So the exhaust is loud and raspy, and this is just a factory muffler and header, and a lot of people switch to a pro circuit because they say this is too loud. They actually go to an aftermarket pipe and muffler to quiet the bike down, and I'll be honest, I don't blame them. It is kind of obnoxious for a stock bike. One other thing, for an XC or like an XC bike, a cross-country bike, really should have something better than this flimsy little plastic skid plate. Matter of fact, on the way home, I stopped at 6 Gear and I ordered a skid plate for it and an air filter box cover, so when I wash the bike, I can wash it real good. But that should really, I feel like, come with a better skid plate. You know, some of this stuff, I guess, is how Kawi keeps the price low, and that's one of the pros to this bike. Is it is a very competitive price range bike. It's $8,500 for a brand new machine. I paid closer to $6,500, and it's got very few hours. It basically is a brand new bike. The kid bought it and decided he didn't like it. He said he had only an SSR pit bike 125 before this, and he bought this and decided dirt biking wasn't for him. So, you know, quite the step up from a little pit bike. So it doesn't surprise me that it scared him or kind of turned him off a little bit. But you know, I feel like some of this stuff, like the skid plate and you know, the mapping switch, I guess some of this is how they keep the price lower, but this is really the same price point as the YZ250X. If you were to buy both brand new, I think the YZ250X is a $8,500 bike, at least MSRP as well. So you know, Kawi could probably step up their game a little bit there. So I love that this thing has the electric start. One of the reasons I didn't buy a 4-stroke when I was younger is because I dreaded the idea of dumping it in a hare scramble and kicking it over. So I love that this bike has electric start, and pretty much all the manufacturers have gone that way. I don't like that it doesn't have the kickstart option. I feel like that's very cheap for Kawi to include, and I think probably a lot of manufacturers don't have that option anymore, but I just feel like that'd be a good selling point if you have the kickstart too, because there's a lot of stuff that can go wrong with a you know, a switch could go, I guess, you know, engine start switches over here. I guess this could go bad. There's just a bunch of, you know, battery could die, whatever. I guess you can always pop start the thing, and that's fine, but a kickstart would be nice. So no cross-country bike that I know of comes with, you know, Barkbuster aluminum handguards or, you know, the Cycra Pro Bends or whatever you want to call them. None of them come with that, but the KTMs at least come with the Roost Guard handguards, like the motocross style handguards. And I feel like for, you know, almost $9,000, they could throw those in. Now, I would probably take them off and throw them in a box and never use them anyway. But I think for the price, they could throw those on there for people that don't really care to put the metal ones on. KTM does it. All right, let's talk about the pros. It's a sharp bike. It's really nice looking. I like that green. I like the black wheels. I don't know if those are Kawi wheels or XLs. They're probably Kawi, but or some, you know, Takasago or whatever, whoever makes the wheels. It is a really nice looking bike, so I like that. I do like that it has the maps, even though it doesn't have it on the fly. It's a good selling point to have that option where you can switch out those modules even if you can't do it while you're riding. The suspension, everybody raves about this KYB suspension, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit concerned because my last bike was lowered, but the problem with a lowered bike is you've already lost, you know, an inch or whatever of travel however much you've lowered it. You've lost that much travel right off the bat, and you're starting further down in the stroke, so you're already into that harsher part of the spring. So you don't have, like in those smaller bumps, you don't have the lighter dampening and compression of that spring when it would be up higher in its stroke. You've already gone past that. So it's very harsh feeling on a lowered bike compared to something factory like this. And a lot of it probably is, I mean, this is supposedly really good suspension. So I'm excited to get a little bit more seat time on this bike and dial this in a little bit further. But I mean, for spending 20 minutes and setting my sag real quick, my buddy Matt brought up his sag tool, and you're able to do it yourself with that. I set it to like 100 millimeters, which is, like I said, just factory, because it doesn't give you the sag settings in the manual, which I was a little bit disappointed with that. So I just put it to the factory sag setting of 100 mil. And like I said, I moved the forks up maybe 3-4 mils in the fork clamps here, and that's all I did. So guys, I gotta tell you, I'm like pumped to ride this thing more. I just feel like this is probably something I should have done a whole long time ago. So you guys are gonna see this in a lot more videos, and hopefully we can see how much we can improve on a bike like this. I think this is actually just what I needed. So I mean, there was a lot of places a couple weekends ago where I just wanted more power and I didn't have. And then I rode my cousin Mike's 450, and I just kind of fell in love with the power. Obviously this is a far cry from a 450, but it's also a far cry more powerful than my 150 was. So I just love how it's very linear, it's very predictable, and it's there when you need it, and you can lug it when you want to. So I'm pumped about it. I'm pumped about not having to mix fuel anymore. I can ride to a gas station or something during a dual sport, or or just throw gas in it. I don't have to mix stuff anymore. So no more buying Dominator and not being able to ride because I ran out of Dominator last time and forgot to buy another quart or whatever. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, lots of more KX250X content coming. So if you haven't yet already, please hit the like and subscribe button, and just leave me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. I really love when everybody leaves the comments. People don't do it enough, so I wish people would start commenting on the videos more, and it lets me know that you guys enjoyed it, and gives me ideas for new content. And I just love answering the questions, and also learning from you guys. If you guys see something that I missed or whatever, let me know. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.